Hi, my name is Byron Bolter. I'm here with Norma, and she is talking to me about some discrimination that she is facing at work and some reverse racism.
Well, there's been a number different times that I felt that I've had discrimination against me. My principal is Hispanic, and there's been times that something would happen to me, and I would be getting in trouble for it, but something else would happen to a different teacher that's Hispanic, and they wouldn't get in trouble with it. They would do the same thing, but they wouldn't get in trouble, but I would.
So I guess you're feeling a little frustrated because the Hispanic teachers are able to get away with things that you're not able to.
Exactly. For example, she had told us at the beginning of the year that we could leave if we had a doctor appointment or something. We can leave later in the day, and as long as it's 2 o'clock or after, that we'd be able to leave, and we wouldn't. She wouldn't charge us a half day for it. And I had a migraine one day. Went in the morning and asked if they could please get us up from my classroom because I thought I was going to be able to make it, but I couldn't. And the whole reason for me not to call in for that day was because we had these RTI meetings, and I needed to make sure that since the teacher that had worked in the schedule, it was able to be done for me, or for my kids to be able to be in there and me attend that meeting, because that teacher had worked so hard on putting the schedule together. I didn't want it to be readjusted. So I tried to go to work, but it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And so I asked in the morning time, then I asked again at the half day mark around 11:30 to see if I can leave at 11:45. And they told me I still didn't have coverage. And then the counselor saw me later on that day about 1:45, and she told me that I looked horrible and I needed to go home and rest because I didn't need to be there. My head hurt so bad. And I said, yeah. I said, I really bad migraine. And she said I needed to go home. And she offered to take over my class and told me I'd have to clock out before I left because that's what the principal had told her, and that I'd probably docked half a day, even though it's 2 o'clock. And I just feel like because I'm Caucasian and not Hispanic, that's why, that among other reasons, that's why I got docked a half day.
Other instances have happened where Hispanic teachers have gone home sick, and there have been coverage for them from the counselor or other substitutes.
Yeah, they usually call in other substitutes for other teachers, so if they get sick or they don't feel good and they go to the nurse at 10 o'clock or whatever, they get coverage immediately.
And they're not docked for the time that they leave, as long as they've been there for some part of the morning.
Right. I mean, if they leave, say they left at 10 o'clock, then they get their whole half day until 11:45, and that's an hour and 45 minutes after they leave. But yet, mine was just an hour and a half, and 20 minutes of that was even dismissal. So basically an hour and 10 minutes of being in the classroom, I was docked for not being there, even though I tried to leave and told them they can dock me half a day because I'd be gone for half the day. But since I had to stay there with the migraine and being sick at my stomach, I shouldn't have been docked because I asked twice to be able to leave before they actually let me.
How are your beliefs as far as race goes in comparison to what you think your principal's beliefs are?
I think that, well, we're all children of God, so therefore we should all be treated equally. If you're going to do this for one person, do this for all the people.
So then you don't look at people as far as a color issue. It's everybody is equal to each other.
Exactly. I mean, I think that because I feel like God made everybody, so we're all the same. There's not one race that's better than the other, or not one race that's lower than the other. We're all equal.
Are there other instances in the school where teachers that aren't Hispanic are mistreated or not given the same preferential treatment as the Hispanic teachers?
Oh yeah, definitely. There was a teacher that basically she was trying to push her out. She'd been there for quite a while, and because she was African American, and she just didn't get along with her because she knew what her rights were as a teacher. And then when this principal that's there now, when she came in, she'd been there for 2 years, and she'd been trying to get rid of this one teacher that's African American for those 2 years. And she just, I don't know, if she said something to somebody, then she would go and try to find out exactly what that one teacher said to try to find something against that teacher. And that teacher was even saying that she's being prejudiced against her as far as discrimination because she's black. And she kept saying that, she was prejudiced against her because she was black. And at first, because it was my first year there back then, I didn't see that. But I mean, as I'm going on throughout the time, I can tell that there's something going on, because she seems like she singles people out and stuff whenever either they're not doing her thing her way or whatever. She just seems to, I don't know, she doesn't really pick on the African. I mean, she picks on African American and white. She doesn't really pick on Hispanic. And I mean, I say pick on, but that's basically the way we see it, is she's singling us out.
I guess that causes a lot of anger and resentment to be built up in you and the other teachers that aren't Hispanic.
Yeah, I mean, just whenever she's doing different situations and stuff, it really bothers us, because it seems like, well, there was another situation too. She had told us, because she had taken up 3 days of of me and one of the teachers, time for our conference period. We're supposed to have 4 days, basically 4 hours a week for our planning time. And she had not given us 3 of those days. And then the 4th day, we had to meet with our eye specialist. And the 5th day was our only day to actually have our planning time. And so she told us that because she took up 3 of those days, that she wanted to give them back to us and let us be able to plan or do whatever we wanted to do. We could either come in late or leave early. And I told her that I would do whatever my team that was there, which was the lead teacher, and then the 4th grade, 2 teachers in 3rd grade. And she told us that we could either come in late or leave early. And I told her I'd do what everybody else did. What everybody else decided. I was the first one to respond, because I responded as soon as she sent the email. And the other teachers had told me that they responded the next morning, because they weren't on their email that night. So I never heard back from either one of them. And since there were other things that were more pressing to discuss with the teachers while I saw them, I never brought that up. And the morning of, she found out that everybody else was leaving early. And because she didn't have the coverage to cover everybody to leave early, she doesn't have to pay she doesn't have to pay the teacher aide to stay later. And so I had told her that I wanted to do what everybody else was doing. And she said, well, everybody else has decided to come in at 9. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, then, of course, I called all the teachers to find out what they had said they were going to do. And if they were coming in at 9 or going in late or coming in early or leaving early. And they all told me that they decided they wanted to leave early because there was that assembly anyway, and it was just easier to not have to plan for the morning time and then walk in and immediately start teaching versus having the afternoon and just do your day and then just leave early and have less of time off. And I said, yeah, I was kind of leaning toward the afternoon anyway, so I'm glad y'all chose that too. And so, because I didn't know if they wanted to plan or if they were going to leave campus. And so everybody decided to leave campus, except for one teacher. But one of the teachers was only in the meeting for one day, not all 3 days. And she was still getting the same privilege as the teachers that were in there for 4 days, or for 3 days in there. So it was just frustrating because she flat out lied to me, being the only Caucasian teacher. The others are Hispanic. But yet she's going to lie to me and tell me that they're coming in late so that I didn't go in until 9 o'clock and then wouldn't be able to leave early with everybody else because she didn't have enough coverage.
I guess it's pretty frustrating when you have such, you feel like she's being shady and deceitful towards you. Have you thought about getting together with any of the other teachers that aren't Hispanic to voice your opinions together as a group?
There's actually what is called Coffee Talk that's coming up this week, and it's where we get to talk to the superintendent and the assistant superintendent, I guess. So they're coming in to let us speak to them. But I hear that I've been informed to be careful what I say to them because they're probably just going to go back and tell the principal anyway. And so, I mean, I'm kind of wondering if, I should say anything or if I should not say anything because I don't want to be caught in a catch-22.
It sounds like you have some choices to make on whether to continue working in this type of environment or making some other choices if you're not able to voice your opinion freely.
Right, and supposedly I can voice my opinion and tell them how I feel, but I'm not sure about that. We'll have to see.
Well, I hope things work out for you.
Thank you.